Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. Brian Crawford is Shreveport's Chief Administrative Officer. Hello, Mr. Brian. How you been?
Hey, good morning, folks. How are y'all?
Well, we got a big election coming up on Saturday.
No
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, 5 millage renewals, property tax renewals. One that you can tell us about the police platoon system too.
Sure.
First question is if this is so big, if this is so important, why do you think it is so under the radar to so many people?
Yeah, we're hoping it's not under the radar. I can tell you that in the last 2 months, Mayor Tyler and her staff have made over 30 separate presentations to every Rotary group, civic club. We've met with every media outlet, including this is the third time I think we've been on Keel going around. So we're trying to get the word out there. We want people to vote on Saturday. We want them to vote for the future of the city. We want them to vote yes for taxes that have been there for more than 40 years. So we can continue the positive momentum that we have going forward. So
you really want a high turnout?
We want a high turnout.
Do you really?
We expect a high turnout, no question about it. If we wouldn't have, we wouldn't have done the events that we've done over the last 60 days and worked from sun up until sundown trying to get the word out there and talk about how important these millages are and to talk about some of the misinformation and disinformation that has been spread out there about these millages. You know, usually this is a no-brainer. People go and they renew these millages, and it hasn't been a big deal. But we had to combat a lot of misinformation and just plain untruths that were being spread. And
what's at the top of that list? What's at the top of that?
Yeah. Well, you know, I heard, you know, they let the taxes expire. Now this is an illegal election, and the taxes expire, so they're new taxes, and you know, all that's a bunch of. I'm just going to say it. It's a bunch of baloney. The Secretary of State is the one who sets the language for the millages, and he even says these are continuations. You know, and where I went to school in Caddo Parish, continuations means something that happened before. All of these millages, you've been paying for more than 40 years. There's no increase in taxes. In fact, Mayor Tyler has decreased taxes. Unlike, you know, I heard some of the comments from Secretary Schroeder on earlier with state government versus Shreveport. And I'll tell you what, if they want to know how to balance a budget, come up here. We've reduced millages. We've reduced taxes by over 6 mills since the mayor took office in 2015. We've balanced our budget every year. In fact, our budget this year is smaller than our budget was about 5 or 6 years ago. So if they want to know how to do it, they can come up here and watch us.
You're hoping for a big turnout. I hate to ask you what if one or any of these fails? I mean, you know, the school board said we'd terminate people when theirs would fail, and that didn't happen when they failed. Are we facing dire consequences?
Well, you know, the mayor's taken the position, and John, you said it a while ago to Secretary Schroeder, you know, and I think he even made the comments about these fear taxes, about what was going to happen and if the budgets didn't pass. We haven't taken that position. The position that we've taken is, look, things are looking up in Shreveport. Crime is way down. We're down 15 to 16% over the same time last year. Homicides are running 70% over what they were last year, lower. We've given police officers a raise that they desperately needed with tax revenue that the citizens have provided the mayor and the council here. So what we're saying is, look, if we want the momentum to continue, if we want to continue on Proposition 1 that takes care of street maintenance, if we want to continue doing 300 streets that have been done over the last 3 years and you know, some $58.6 million towards streets, if we want to continue SPAR and recreation, and, you know, people think about SPAR and recreation, that's proposition number 2 as being just the recreation centers and the football games and those types of things. But SPAR also takes care of Red River Revel. They also takes care of the Mudbug Festival. They also manage Riverview Hall where the symphony is and where the ballet is, and so those tax dollars go to those things too. If we want to continue to pay our firefighters and police officers a competitive salary and keep them here, then Propositions 3 and 5 do that, as well as benefits. Proposition 4 is about equipment. So the new police cars that have been bought in 2016 for the first time since 2012, the Mayor Tyler and the council have now sank $6 million. Some of that came from the commission because they gave us a little bit of money. That's Proposition 4 for new equipment. If we want to see all those things continue, we hired 70 new police officers last year. That was 2 of the largest basic training classes ever in a single year. We're going to hire 80 more police officers this year, hopefully, and have one of the largest police forces that we've ever had. And all of those, between the increased police officers, the cars, those types of things, all those are having an effect in driving crime down. So if we want to continue that momentum, if we want all of that to go forward, then that's what we need to do in passing all 6 of these renewals and these continuations.
Brian Crawford is the CAO. This another criticism is coming your way. I know you've seen it.
Well, we're used to it.
I'll fire one at you.
Sure.
about the high salaries being paid to bond attorneys for Shreveport, and there's been names named and there's been salaries mentioned. Is that accurate? Is some of that out of line? Do we need to check it out?
It's not out of line. Those salaries are set by the state. And let me tell you what, some of those people that are making the accusations are people that were having some of the privileges of being bond counsel and being in those transactions in previous administrations, if you'll go back and look, and they're just not happy because maybe they're not participating anymore.
But the salaries are different in other communities. So
we don't set those salaries and we don't set those rates. Those are regulated by the state, and we're in complete conformance with those guidelines.
You don't set the salaries. How are those attorneys chosen?
Yeah, they're chosen by the city. The city picks those attorneys just like the previous administration picked those attorneys and the previous administration picked those attorneys. And I can tell you, from Mayor Tyler and the council standpoint, we try to go out and find the best ones that have the best experience. And I can tell you, the bond attorneys, since we've been here, have saved us millions of dollars. Let me give you a for instance. The reason that we've been able to reduce taxes 6.05 mils since we've been here is because we've paid off $50 million in debt, and we haven't assumed any new general obligation bond debt in the 3 years that we've been here. Some of that is because we have refunded or we've refinanced some not-so-good bond deals that were done in the past and gotten a lower interest rate. And so we look for those people with that type of experience who can come in here and not only do a great job, but I can tell you, those bond maneuvers that we've done have saved us far, far more, and the taxpayers far more money than any salaries that we've paid anybody who's helped us negotiate those deals.
Are these bond attorneys friends of the mayor? What's the process for picking them?
There's no friends up here. This is a business climate up here. We look at resumes. We look at experience. We look at what they're able to do for the citizens of Shreveport. Those conversations are had with the staff, and if we think that they can provide a great service to the citizens, save them money in the long run, which they have done over and over again, then they're selected, just like the previous mayors did on any other term.
Brian Crawford, Election Day Saturday, it's critical for our city, right?
Listen, let me tell you what. Like I said, the difference in the state and the difference in the city of Shreveport is we live within our means. We've demonstrated that. We've paid over $50 million in debt down. We've actually reduced your taxes since we've been in here. These are all renewals to help our first responders keep good equipment, good salaries, along with our other city workers going SPAR, keeping the streets maintained. It's a yes all the way across the board.
Brian, thanks for not ducking us. We appreciate it.
Hey, anytime. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend, and pull the lever on yes on Saturday.